Wonderful. Thank you all for being with me today. And so I'd like us to begin by getting grounded. I'm going to start with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. The Algonquin people were here first to live, celebrate, lament, and sing on the land we are now. Therefore, let us create brave spaces and more opportunities to better understand the lived experience of Indigenous peoples. Further, let us encourage one another to rise up to the challenges that may arise from having genuine dialogues around the meaning of truth and reconciliation. And so, further, let me ask you all or invite you all to give a round of applause to our guest today, Aali Alizadeh, Dr. Aali Alizadeh from Geotech. He's here to talk with us. Let's just give a round of applause and welcome him today. I'll add you as well. All right. So I just want to do an introduction of Dr. Aali Alizadeh. So he's actually the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of Geotech, and the adjunct professor at the University of Ottawa. He has over 15 years of experience in research, development, and commercialization of technologies related to concrete materials. He co-founded Giatec in 2010 with a vision to revolutionize the concrete industry with exports in more than 80 countries and its sensors used in over 8,000 construction projects. Geotech is a fast-growing Canadian tech company and a world leader in concrete, IoT, and AI solutions. Dr. Alizadeh also serves on several technical committees at ACI, ASTM, and CSA organizations, and has published over 100 papers and patents. His work has been recognized by several awards, including Governor General's Academic Gold Medal, the University of Ottawa's Alumni Entrepreneur of the Year, and Ottawa's 40 Under 40. So we have the great opportunity to hear his personal journey as an immigrant entrepreneur and the lessons learned that he's taken to grow his company to new heights. So please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tatanisha, for the introduction, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I'm really happy to share the story and the journey that I had as an immigrant and as an entrepreneur building a business here in Canada. So if I can, I'd like to share some slides with you, go through that story first, and then open up, I guess, for further discussions. Okay, so can you see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay, back to the presentation mode. Okay, so I call this bringing concrete ideas to life. No pun intended. It's about the journey that I had as a civil engineering student in the getting into the concrete material science and basically bringing those ideas and building a business at the end of it. So I'll go back to probably 20 years ago when I was an undergraduate student at the University of Tehran in Iran. I was studying my civil engineering program at the undergrad level, and basically I wanted to finish my undergrad and start, join a company and as a civil engineer start designing structures and buildings. And it was towards the end of my undergrad when we notified about a competition, a student competition that was organized by the American Concrete Institute, ACI. That year it was actually in Toronto, Canada. And so we set ourselves to attend this competition and win the competition that was about building the highest strengths possible in concrete. So we formed a team of students and worked day and night to basically come up with a recipe that achieves the highest strength possible. And the University of Tehran sent us to this competition. We won the third place in that year, and that was the moment that everything changed for me. I realized that I'm so much in love with concrete. I want to know more about this material. I want to do more research in that area and understand how we can make concrete better and more durable and stronger. And that made me change the path of my basically career. And instead of going and joining a company after undergrad, I decided to continue my research. I continued my master's studies in concrete science, looked at the durability of concrete in marine conditions. And after that, I wanted to go deeper and deeper. So that's when I decided to come to Canada as an international student. So back in 2005, I came to the University of Ottawa as an international student. Actually, this is the first picture. I think it was the first day after my arrival. So I went to the Columbine building to register. It was a very interesting time for me, to see that I'm progressing in my passion to become a researcher for concretes. And I was I chose the program at the University of Ottawa because I was getting into a research group under the supervision of a well-known professor, Dr. Jim Baudouin, to get into the deeper level at the material science for concrete and cement science. So I was fortunate enough to get access to the National Research Council, as my professor was a researcher there. So I did very deep analytical research into the nanoscience behind cement and concrete. And over the course of like 3.5 years, I made major achievements in terms of understanding the nature of cement binders, how the nanostructure of cement changes as it hydrates and concrete forms. And as a result of all of this research and the publication and the contributions that we had to the research community, my work was recognized by the Governor General's Academic Gold Medal. So I did everything I could to become a researcher and become a professor. That was my passion. I wanted to become a professor and start teaching at the university, pass on my knowledge to students, and continue on this journey. And after graduation, I had 3 options, actually. I had an offer to become a professor or join a tenure track professor position. I was also given an offer to go to MIT to do my postdoc there. And Lafarge, which is one of the largest concrete producers worldwide, invited me to join their research lab in France. So, this is a dream come true for any PhD graduate. And but at that point, something didn't really sit right with me. I wasn't really ready to settle. And the reason was that during that time, there were some big bridge collapses in Canada and US. People were killed as a result of those bridge collapses. And it was really sad to see that we're doing so much research in the concrete side, but there's these kinds of incidents that are happening that we cannot prevent. So that was when I decided to start a business with my current business partner, who was also in the same shoes. He was a student at the University of Carleton, doing PhD in corrosion science. And together we formed Geotech to bring our knowledge to the industry and build solutions that can prevent these things from happening. So we had this big vision of using technology, sensors, tools, software to enable and empower all the stakeholders during the life cycle of concrete, all the way from the concrete production to delivery, placement, and while the concrete is in service, with accurate monitoring of its properties, prediction of its properties, and real-time notification. So that's how we started Geotech. And like many other startups, the idea and the formation happened in a coffee shop. Actually, this is in the Bible Market, where we sat together and we decided to establish Geotech, pick the name, pick the logo, and everything started from there. And as we went forward, we got a cubicle at Invest Ottawa. This is their Aberdeen location back in the day. So we got that a space. We got a little bit of research grant, started hiring electrical engineers, software developers, salespeople, and grew from 2 of us at the beginning to the state that we couldn't really stay at Invest Ottawa anymore. Then we subleased the space. Again, we didn't really have that much money, and it was all organic growth. We never raised VC or PE money, so we had to be as lean as possible. So we subleased this space and started working there for a couple of years, a few years there, and we outgrew that space. Then we had the luxury of buying our own, basically custom decorated a space with a logo going on the wall, and we grew in this building to where we are today with 70 employees. So everything started with 2 of us, growing to 70 people, and over the course of 11 years since we started Geotech in 2010, we've developed and introduced different products to the market, from lab devices, corrosion detection tools, and wireless sensors for concrete monitoring. Some of them are breakthrough technologies like iCore that are patented, and there's nothing like that in the world. Some of them are designed to address real world problems, like Smart Rock, that looks at the strengths of concrete on the job site, so contractors can speed up their schedules by knowing how strong is concrete, and they can open forms faster, build the next floors faster. And with this sensor, we got into the IoT, industrial IoT. This network of IoT sensors that we've built is now in worldwide use in more than 7,500 projects. These are actually real data points or real project locations where our sensors are used. The most I guess exciting one was when we had this project in Antarctica, where our sensors was used there. So that we made a happy dance there when we are now in all of the continents worldwide. And with these sensors, they are used in many different types of applications, from bridges, tunnels, high rises. And it's really exciting to see that we are impacting the world. Concrete is the most consumed material by humans after water. And now we're seeing it's getting digitized and it's getting instrumented by technology that makes it more efficient, sustainable, durable. And it's really, really exciting for us to achieve that vision that we set ourselves to accomplish at the beginning of the formation of Geotech. But one key element to achieve this, and we can go into the discussion, I guess, after this presentation, is forming a team. So we were very fortunate to bring people with different backgrounds, different expertise, diverse teams together to work together towards the same vision. And everyone was excited about impacting the world in a way that is tangible. And the team grew over the years to more and more people. And it's like a family for us. At the end of the day, we are supporting each other. They are helping each other to become better and bring the best out of themselves in any position and any expertise that they are. So I leave it at that. I know I was given only 10 minutes to go through a few slides and open up for discussion with the group.
All right, that was phenomenal. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so I'm just going to follow that wonderful presentation up with a few questions that I think give the clients that we work with a little bit more insight into the nitty-gritties and how to go about growing a business to that magnitude. And so my first question to you is, going into this, how do you define success?
Yes, so everyone has a different definition for success. For us, what it was always about creating that impact. The moment we see that our products, our solutions are used by customers, and they're calling us saying, wow, this is great. It made my life easier. This is making my concrete stronger, and so on and so forth. That's when we feel that we're successful. Everything else is designed to achieve that accomplishment, to see that there's a happy user that has a pain previously that is now solved with the product or solution that we have developed. And obviously that drives everything else, from revenue, from the team growth, from other things that other people would define as success. But for us, that that customer pain that we are solving is the success that we are achieving.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Yes, I thought it was incredibly poignant that your business was driven by those, finding solutions to those real heartbreaking challenges of, having those slides with the concrete and the people, having issues in the roads. And so it's really great that you and your team were able to come up with that peace of mind for your customers to know that they actually have a product that's supporting their growth. And so my next question to you is, how does Geotech align with its mission and vision?
Yeah, so our vision is revolutionizing the concrete industry, and we are working really hard to get to that vision. Our team is aligned with that vision, all the way from individual team members to leaders and managers, and to make everyone aligned towards that vision and mission. Can only be accomplished by two things. One is communication. You need to constantly communicate what you are doing and what you're trying to achieve with your team. What's it as an entrepreneur, as a founder, whatever is in your mind, people may not be able to read, right? So you need to communicate that, define it as detailed as possible, give examples, set examples, and show them what the whole team is going to accomplish at the end of the day. So they share the same vision. They become part of that vision. They feel it is tangible, the vision and the strategy and vision that you have set to the company. The second one is the core values. You need to have core values that binds everyone together towards that mission and vision. And that's part of the functionality alignment, I would say, in the team, that everyone, for example, for us, it's creativity, passion, and integrity. So we ensure that everyone who joins our team is aligned and is adhering to those core values, from creativity to develop innovative solutions, to passion, to be excited about what they're doing in any position and any capacity that they are in, and integrity, about transparency, about hardworking, and all the things that define integrity. So we set the culture, we set activities, we ensure that we as leaders and managers are good examples and role models for those core values, so that our team can also follow, and that culture propagates throughout the company. And that's essential to achieve the company vision, which is as I mentioned, the one goal of revolutionizing the concrete industry.
Fantastic. Creativity, passion, integrity. Those are incredible pillars to hang your hat on. And so following that, you're talking about being a role model and your role in the leadership and management position. And so I would love to know more around, what were the most important risks that you took and why in growing your business to this level?
There are so many risks, right? So as an entrepreneur, and especially for us, without raising any money, it was all organic growth, bootstrap, basically format that we chose to grow Geotech. We took many different risks. For me, maybe it starts with the risk of starting business. I could have started one of those positions that I showed, and have a comfortable life, and get really good salary, and basically settle. But I chose not to, and without any salary, without any money, basically, we started Giatec, and it started attracting funding, research funding from various organizations, and that was the biggest risk, I would say, in my career. And but it was very rewarding. There was a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of challenges. There were a lot of moments during the first 2 years that I was saying, did I do the right thing? Should I have chosen one of those positions? But I think at the end of the day, that was a good time for me to take that challenge, learn new things, even if it would have not gone to the stage that we are in today, I think would have been still rewarding. And so that's on the general side. But this, on the business specific side of it, I think the risk is that anytime we develop a new technology or solution, we release it in the market before perfection. We they call it MVP, or there are different definitions, but it can be risky. We are risking the backlash from the market, but we are taking that risk because we want to get market feedback as quickly as possible and iterate the product as many times as possible to make it really fit to what the pain is in the different applications, that we're targeting. So we always take that risk. It comes with a lot of challenges and pressure to our teams. We have to work very closely with early adopters, but at the end of the day, we find it very successful, as opposed to say you work 3 years on a product to get it perfect, and then you send it to the market, and then you realize customers don't use it in the way that you had in mind. So that's also, I think, in the business side is a risk that we always take.
Wow, phenomenal answer. That's a lot to digest, the realities of the pressure, but still being resilient enough to keep going. So thank you for that. I think we're going to be going into Q&A shortly, and I hope that some of you in the audience have some questions. But before we do that, I have a final question for you. So what piece of advice would you give to an immigrant entrepreneur who's interested in building a business with emerging technologies?
Okay, so yeah, a good question with different aspects to it. So immigrant entrepreneurs and technology. So from immigration perspective, one thing that when I came to Canada, I wanted to finish my studies, settle, find a job, and that's pretty much the mindset for most of the immigrants or people who are coming to Canada. They want to settle here, find a job, and basically leverage the benefits or the privilege that we have here in Canada as immigrants, citizens, international students. So that's pretty much the goal. And rarely immigrants take the risk of starting a business. I think that's something that we should all believe in ourselves. We have taken the risk of coming to a new country, a new culture, a new environment, starting from zero. And that's actually one of the fundamental characteristics of an entrepreneur, to start from zero. And if you have that already established, I think there's a good chance that you can start a business and become successful. So I definitely encourage all the immigrants and people who are coming to Canada to think about whether they can use their talent in any type of business that they can think of, whether it's a small business or larger idea, it doesn't matter. But it's a good opportunity. Canada has abundance of resources to support entrepreneurs. There are so many government organizations and that you can leverage, from funding to advice and coaching. So it's a very, very awesome society to foster entrepreneurship. So I would definitely encourage people to take that a step when they're coming here. On the technology side, technology is becoming easier and easier to access. It's becoming cheaper and cheaper. Electronics are becoming cheaper. Software is becoming more accessible. Everything is now accessible through cloud at very low cost. The cost of producing a mobile app or designing a website or starting a business is becoming less and less. And you have all kinds of resources nowadays to leverage. So I think technology, if anything, has helped creating more businesses. The fact that we have that easy access, I think that's also another great aspect that we all need to be aware of.
That's fantastic. Absolutely. It's definitely more accessible to be able to access softwares and grow your business from there. It's a really amazing time to be an entrepreneur. And so is there any questions from the audience? Anybody have any burning questions about Dr. Aali Alizadeh's journey or what Geotech does? Feel free to pop a question in the chat. And I will also, given that they're still coming through the chat with the questions, I'm going to ask another one. Or actually, I'll just ask you if you have any questions today. Oh, we have one.
We have one, yeah.
Okay.
Want me to read it?
Yes, please, go right ahead.
For sure. And also thanks, Aali, for sharing your story. Very inspiring. I'll just be helping out with the Q&A here. Kai is saying, thanks for sharing your fabulous experience, making a transition from academia research to business. This is a big risk and achievement that you have made. Now he says, tell us a little bit about your business knowledge and or experience. And did you need to educate yourself more about business?
Thank you, and thanks, Kais, for the question. Yes, so yeah, I didn't have any business background. No, I didn't really get education. I didn't have any MBA. Didn't know how to sell or do marketing. So we just had one idea, and we naively thought with that idea we can change the world, and basically. In a few years we'll have thousands of customers and we can scale quickly. Little did we know that there are so many other things that goes with it, right? So we self-educated ourselves, self-taught ourselves as we went forward. We made many mistakes at the beginning because we didn't know how to do things. Even if you have education in business, you may still do those mistakes, but the key is that don't worry about those mistakes. You have nothing to lose when you're starting a business, right? So at the beginning, you're taking a risk, but it's not like, there are hundreds of employees or your decision is only affecting yourself. It's not the existing employees that are going to be affected like when you are 5 or 10 years in the business. So making those mistakes, I would look at it as a learning opportunity. You need to do as many trials as possible. Try different sales approaches, try different marketing opportunities. For us, actually, because we didn't raise money, we became very innovative. We tried to find solutions to get to the goal as quickly as possible, whether it was finding customers, the manufacturing products, shipping them in innovative ways that wasn't really common sense. There were a lot of, I guess, practices that you can learn in the business school about how to start marketing, how to sell. But we chose the unconventional path, and that culture of innovation that, look, we don't have money to hire a marketer. We don't have money to hire a CFO. Let's figure out ourselves how this should be done. That culture was one of the key elements in our success. So we self-taught ourselves. We did a lot of trials and errors, and we learned from our mistakes. And at the same time, we surrounded ourselves for advisors and coaches that are in the community. So one of the advantages of working at Invest Ottawa was that we had access to a lot of ex-entrepreneurs who basically were giving this advice for free for us. Not necessarily applicable in most cases, but just listening to what they say, grabbing ideas and gathering ideas and choosing what recommendation fits with our needs was very big help. So we also leveraged that in addition to our willingness to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. So basically, we learned as we went forward, and I think that was one of the best experiences I've had throughout the past 11 years.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Resourcefulness, I'm gathering from that comment too, eh? A culture of being resourceful, learning yourself. That's fantastic. We have another question here. Well, first we have a comment from Randa. It says, so inspiring. Thank you so much. And then Wuhib is asking, how did you navigate the Canadian workplace culture? how did you integrate your background, which is not Canadian, into a society or industry that pretty much wants experience or education or professional experience that is Canadian? And thank you for finding time to talk to us today, he's saying.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Wade. I didn't immigrate to Canada and start a business from the get-go. Obviously, I had 4 years of education experience here as a PhD student. So I gradually immersed in the Canadian culture and the community and the way that things would work here that are different from my home country in Iran. So that I had that opportunity to learn during those first 4 years. But even with that, when you get to the business community, when you start, our product was designed to be sold to concrete companies, construction companies, testing labs. So we had to learn their culture. We had to learn how they operate and how they do business, what is important to them. So I think one of the things that our coaches are always telling us, our mentors are telling us, is that you're coachable. Like, we were always open to learn. We're, as much as entrepreneurs have to be stubborn and have an ego, but you have to be open to learn. So in any opportunity, in any interaction that we had, we were humble enough to learn from the people who have been in that area for many years. So when we were talking to a construction company, a project manager, a superintendent, it was for us a learning opportunity. And they would see that, and they see that, okay, we are here to learn from them and help them and design something that brings value to them. And that approach was very successful. Everyone's open to trying the better version of our product. Everyone was willing to help us. Everyone was willing to give us access to do beta testing of our sensors and our products in their job sites. So with that approach, I think we built a good connection, and we leveraged those connections to build bigger connections. So as the initiation is very important. You get maybe a few people who believe in you, they support you, and then with the network that those established people have, you grow your network to other people, and then you build in that credibility. So that initiation is very important, but after that, it's very easy to grow because you have surrounded yourself with people who have established credibility here prior to you, and then they can make connections for you. They can help you grow in other areas. So we always, one of the things I always tell is that because we didn't have VC money, we didn't have to form an external board of directors, but we did that from the beginning. We brought in board members, although we didn't have to, and we formed a board of directors with external people to help us, to make sure that we have governance that is needed to establish that business and that credibility and that image in the community. And that went a long way in gaining that trust and also expanding our network to other people that those board members knew. And that's how we grew. We still have most of our leaders and managers, they have mentors and coaches. That's part of our culture, and we definitely are going to continue on that to say that we don't know everything. We need to bring in expertise from outside, and those people not only help us become better in what we do, but also they can connect us to other people that as needed.
Never alone. That's a lesson right there, eh? Great. Thanks for that. Now we have a question from Grace. You mentioned that you and your partner did not take a salary in the beginning. How long was that period of non-salary?
Yeah, so I think it was about 6 months that we didn't have any salary. We had a bit of, I guess, funding from before, so some savings and so on and so forth. But at Geotech, for the first 6 months, we obviously didn't have any revenue and we didn't have any grants, so we didn't pay ourselves any salary. But when during that 6 months, we approached various government organizations like OCE and IRAP submitted ideas about what we want to do, got some funding from them, a very small amount of funding at the beginning. And then that's how we basically started paying salaries to us and our employees. And there were also some youth employment programs that we leveraged, co-op students, and so on and so forth. So we run very lean. And also we made sure that we get to the market as quickly as possible, because we wanted to generate revenue to support paying those salaries and hiring more people. So we quickly went from getting that research fund to building a prototype, to advertising that prototype, getting quote requests, and selling that product. Even though it was at the prototype stage, we got pre-orders, and we started based on those pre-orders manufacturing the real products and generate revenue at the end of the, say, year and a half. So that's when we started the first revenue, and after that it was easy. Like, we made sure the first customer was happy. That resulted in testimonials that led to more sales and more revenue. And with that, it's just a snowball. You generate more revenue, that attracts more research funding and more government funding, and with that, you hire more people that will get you to the next step in scaling your business. But it's not easy, you know. If you have to be very creative and obviously very, very lean. And I remember at that point, our group lunches were at IKEA, getting meatballs and all that. So just very, very, very lean at the beginning, taking bus to work and all that. But that's how you have to start at the beginning.
That's wonderful. Do we have any more questions coming in? I don't see any, but I'm sure you guys are typing some. In the meantime, I have a question. So how long would you say your testing period was before, like from the time you came with the idea, you tried it and you got the feedback, improved it. How long did that take?
So we had a hardware product, so that's a bit difficult compared to, say, if you have a software solution. So we had to build that prototype, test it, ensure it's working properly. So it took about a year, 9 months to a year to get to a stage that we were ready to advertise it. So that's the first experience. But after that, it was easier. We learned how quickly we can get to a prototype stage, get market feedback. We already had, for the next products, a network of beta customers who were willing to test our initial version of our hardware and software. So now the cycles are faster, obviously depending on the product, but at the beginning, it took us about, 9 months to a year to get to a stage that we were ready to go to the market.
Amazing. That's very good. Any questions, anybody? Don't be shy.
Yeah, I have another question, actually. Aali, I wanted to ask you, being an entrepreneur, is that something that you ever dreamt about at all? Or is it just something that sort of evolved after you did your PhD?
Yeah, it's different for different people. Some people do it out of necessity. Some people are entrepreneurs, from even their childhood. They work and they sell, and they, for me, it was different. It was different. I never wanted to become an employee per se. Like, I wanted to become a professor. That was my ideal end game when I was doing my PhD studies, to establish my own research team and educate the students and continue research and so on and so forth. So in a way, it's a business. So professors are building a team. They have to apply for grants, and they have to produce product, which is in their case is paper, publications and things like that. So I had that in mind, and when I wanted to start Geotech, as I mentioned, the idea was that I wasn't ready to settle. I wasn't ready to have a comfortable, path and life and job. I thought, let me try this. I thought, let me see where this will take us. We want to make an impact. We are not happy to see what's happening in the real world on the bridges. So let's do something about it. And in a way, we pushed ourselves to become entrepreneurs. And if anyone tells you that these are the challenges that you'll face as an entrepreneur, you may not even start a business. So, but as long as you are sticking with your vision, that makes you go over the obstacles, makes your challenges easier to handle. The former CEO of LinkedIn has a saying that I love. It says, entrepreneurship is like jumping off a cliff and trying to figure out how to make an airplane before you crash and crash down. So you have to figure it out. There's a lot of things happening in that path, and you may not jump if you know how difficult it is. But when you go into it and you truly believe in your vision, you'll do anything possible to get to that vision.
Okay. Sorry, I have a related question then. So obviously, when you produce your products, the idea is to innovate and to create new products to solve a problem that somebody may have, right? And which is the key, keystone of being an entrepreneur. But do you actually market to companies where you feel the need is there for your product? So why I ask that is, let's say, and I'm not trying to disparage any place in particular, but Montreal, their construction, we have heard of stories where bridges are falling apart and stuff like that. So would you actually go out to market them about your product, or do you just wait for them to come to you?
Yeah, so ideas, there are tons of ideas. I can bet for any idea you have, there are probably hundreds or thousands of other people who have the same exact idea, as much as you think you have a unique idea. That's why a coffee idea becomes a Starbucks, whereas another coffee idea becomes a corner store, right? Yeah. So it's important to, and that brings you to the concept of product market fit. You have to design something that people care about, and by that I mean they're willing to pay for it. Most cases, people have ideas that other people would say, "Oh, this is great, this is exciting," but as soon as you tell them, "Would you prepay for it?" they would say no. So you have to ensure that's the measure of real pain. They are willing to write you a check today and say, I'm willing to add this pain by your product. So you need to understand if that's a real pain. If, for example, we looked at bridges collapsing, and that's a big pain in our opinion. But when we went to the market, and then actually it's one of the questions that I see is that about one product idea or multiple ideas. When you go to the market, yes, bridge collapses is a huge problem, but the end users may have bigger problems that you didn't really think about. When we went to the market with our idea for bridge collapse prevention or detection of deterioration in bridges, we realized in most cases, detection happens after the fact. When they see there's a crack, when they see there's rust running out, that's when they decide to do a repair. So basically, our product for corrosion detection wasn't really a big pain for them because we were detecting corrosion 5 years before it's happening or 3 years before happening. So it wasn't really a product market fit from that perspective. Yes, you can build a good small business or maybe family business with that, but that wasn't our vision. We wanted to create a bigger impact. So as we went to the market, we realized what are the bigger pains. And that's why, I think it's key, as you mentioned, you need to go into the market, validate your idea even before building the product. Go and show mock-ups, discuss the idea. And if people are nice not to smash your idea, try to get answers out of them. Most people, they don't tell you the truth. But if they say, this is nice, tell them, I'm giving 50% discount. Are you going to write a check today? Right? So that's a true test of this is a real pain. Right? Ensure that you have found the real pain and your idea is a product market fit before getting too deep into the product development and commercialization and all of that. So this was a good lesson for us, and for us, we developed various products. Some of them breakthrough technologies, but not a great or big market or product market fit. Some of them, not so much advanced technology, but is a big pain that is addressed by them, and that's why it's driving the revenue and growth in those areas. So yeah, so that's what I can tell you.
Thank you so much. And we have time for one last question. So let's go to the last one here from Wuhib. He's asking, how did the market look when you started, and how does it look like now? Did you then undo? Sorry, I'm trying to. Did you have a strong competition then and now, and how did you tackle those issues?
Yeah, sure. Before that, there's actually a good question here about the business plan. Now, business plan is not really what you need to have to build a business. Especially as an entrepreneur starting with a couple of you don't really need a business plan. It's a classic way that is taught at the business school that you need to have that business plan. But yeah, maybe you can put a business model, maybe think about customer, competition, path to market. But a classic way of building a binder of business plan and showing it to advisors and that's useless. And I can guarantee you, anything you write today, next month you have to change it. So that's not, from my perspective, not really valuable for entrepreneurs at the beginning of their journey. But on the question about the market and competition, so yes, so we started in an industry that wasn't really ready for digital technologies. Construction is very conservative in nature. Whatever they're comfortable with today, they may not want to change it. So there are test methods that they're using for hundreds of years, if you believe it or not. And they're comfortable with that, they don't want to change it. So that was one of the biggest barriers for us at the beginning, 10 years ago. There was reluctant to adopt technology as opposed to the status quo and what they were doing. But as we went forward, we were lucky that we went through a digitalization. The new workforce joining the construction industry, young people who were joining this market, they demanded technology. They were raised by technology, smartphones and apps and software. So they demanded technology. And on top of that, because of all the challenges that we have, the efficiency was very low. So construction companies started to look into products, solutions that would improve their efficiency and productivity and speed up their projects. So we designed a solution that addresses that area to make real impact, immediate impact, as opposed to, yes, it was, for example, our sensors, they were saving at least 1 day for concrete contractors and general contractors in their pours every week. So that was a huge saving for them. So that drove the adoption. But on top of that, because it was helping them with documentation, data management, data communication, it also was attractive from a different perspective. So we went through this transition over the past 10 years. So market wasn't really ready at the beginning, but we now see that there's a huge demand for technology in this market. From the competition, the same thing happened. We were the first mover for our concrete sensors and SmartRock, our flagship product, in the market with wireless communication, Bluetooth technology inside the concrete to get data. And then as soon as we started that, and there were companies who started adopting it, other companies and other competitors saw that there's an opportunity here. So they started doing similar products or developing similar products. So today we have about 30 competitors worldwide. But because we were the first mover and we took that risk, we established a good brand and a good reputation. And that was one of the biggest advantages for us to take that risk. And also we always have to stay competitive. Innovation is a big part of our culture. We have a big R&D team that continuously develops new technologies. So every year we're releasing a new version of our product, a new software, a new hardware. So it's great to have competitors to educate the market and create that market, and we go in with the best product.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you so much for sharing all those insights. We are going to close, and I just want to say you're an incredible innovator. I think a lot of us are looking up to you right now as someone who's made great waves in his industry. We applaud you for all of your work and also taking the time to elevate new immigrant entrepreneurs in the community. And with that, I will end the recording and talk about next steps.